Alrighty, this is William,
And this is Davis.
and post SEMA.
And wrap up
Yep.
favorite cars. Which one? How many cars were there?
there, there were tons of them. There were show cars,
Jesus, trucks,
sports cars,
exotics.
muscle cars,
Oh my God, 4x4s,
race cars,
drift cars,
the ultimate
vans.
street cars.
One thing I didn't see were boats.
No boats.
No boats.
Got a few motorcycles in there.
Yeah, a few custom cycles.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
But
Crazy paint jobs.
there's no way could we do a video that would show all of them. It would be hours long.
Oh my God, it would be 2 days worth of video.
Absolutely.
Just nonstop.
So what we decided to do is we were each going to pick our top 3 cars and showcase them. My first pick was Suddenly. It's a 1957 Plymouth Savoy reproduction car of the one driven by Wally Parks back in 1957. Just a killer car. Everything there. So much history. It was just a killer.
I mean, for something that was like virtually off the floor, Savoy was pretty basic.
The Savoy was the bottom end.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as far as the car itself, it was stripped out with the back seat, and had a roll bar in it, but it still looked heavy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it still had the big bumpers, the big tail lights,
But
the
it
fins.
did hit a top speed of 183.
That's pretty impressive, but Chrysler Hemi, man, wins every time. My number one pick was the 1967 Ford Fairlane, built by Steve Strupp, who we did manage to talk to briefly that first day when everybody was looking around at that car, and I was surprised to see a 67 Fairlane there, and he was underneath the car showing somebody the torsion front suspension, which I didn't get a close look at, but the more and more I started looking at this car with the single overhead cam 427 in it, and the custom rear end. It looked like it had a quick change rear end in it. And he was also talking about the sheet metal work that went into the quarter panels.
Because that thing sat pretty low.
Yeah, it sat low, but it also it wasn't sitting on the ground either, so kind of an optical illusion as far as, actual sitting height on the ground. So that was interesting, but beautifully done car, and it's still very stock looking on the interior.
Oh yeah, tough.
Just super tough. And then you have good taste when you look up and you go, oh, it's got a ribbon hanging from the rearview mirror. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, because they did win the award for SEMA's Best of Show.
Right. They had that ribbon inside the car and a little plaque down there down there in the ground underneath the car. But yeah, that was very cool. And there also is a video on that too of Steve talking about the car for Miller welding equipment, but you can actually see the car months ago, all stripped out and ready to get cut up. So that was my number one.
My number 2 pick was, I know it's unlike me, but was the 2014 Dodge Challenger SRT. This thing was totally designed by Richard Petty.
And it's weird for you too, because you don't usually pick up on late model
No,
cars.
that's what I'm talking about.
That goes to show you that Dodge hits a home run with, resurgence of muscle.
Yeah, this thing, 950 horsepower on pump gas. It was honoring the 50th year of the 462 Hemi.
There you go.
Everything just redesigned. McLeod clutch, interior upgrades, Hurst shifter, custom instrument panel, 20-inch wheels, tricked out suspension. Thing was killer. And it was Petty Blue.
With another eye catcher, right?
Number 43 on there.
You're gonna get your attention at any street, any racetrack, autocross, whatever.
Yeah, great car.
My number 2 was the 1963.5 Ford Galaxy Fastback that was inside the main hall there, and that featured a 427, 620 horsepower FE, of course. You gotta love that. 8-stack fuel injection with hidden fuel injectors, always a plus.
Clean looking.
Clean, new technology, old sheet metal. Yeah, bone stock, sleeper style, the Corinthian white with the dog dish hubcaps.
Just a beautiful car,
All black
inside and out.
interior. Yeah, it was just bone stock, but just get down to the nuts and bolts. It's just tough. And classic instruments gauge panel with additional voltage and oil pressure gauges. I mean, all the stuff that we were already going to add on because of you don't really trust the old school factory electronics.
Yeah, that dummy light.
Exactly. Beautiful car.
And my number one pick for SEMA, which is very much like me, is a 1970 Superbird, which is actually redundant because they only made Superbirds in 1970. It was the rival to the Ford Torino Talladega, and they're trying to get Richard Petty back to Plymouth by putting out the Superbird. It was based off the Roadrunner for stock car racing. About 1,000 of them still exist now. Expect on paying around 150,000.
Lighten the wallet up.
Exactly, but only about 2,000 of them were made. So
Okay, Roadrunners and Daytonas.
Daytonas came out in 1969.
Okay.
Superbirds 1970.
And so there's a production of 1,000 of each model?
No, about 2,000 of just a Superbird.
Okay. My number 3 pick was the Galpin Autosport 57 Fairlane, which I did a little history on. It's the Ron Hornaby Senior Circle Track Racer that featured the inline 6-cylinder. Apparently he was a local to Southern California racing, and he passed away in 2008. But that car had some history to it, and not something that was just cobbled together and made to look old. That was a real deal. So that was pretty cool, and so that was my number 3 pick.
And then lastly, an honorable mention goes to the Saleen 416 Tesla.
Beautiful car, man. Oh.
Electric vehicles are here to stay, and man, they did this one right. They left the Model S electric motor and the batteries, and then pretty much massaged everything else.
Yeah, that was a beautiful paint job, beautiful work on the interior. Sitting alongside those Lamborghinis there in the show, it's just like, wow, that's right up there.
Absolutely. Love to see that thing on the road.
Absolutely, man.
So, thanks for watching. Make sure to visit us at www.primerpodcast.com for more content, the podcast, photos. Everything's right there.
Everything's there.